Hey everyone, and welcome to the Tradies and Business podcast. I have some big news to share. If you've checked out our socials in the past couple of months, you may have already seen Woz has officially retired from the podcast after an amazing, I think it's 9 years here on the show. Was the original creator of the podcast, starting with a former co-host, Michaela. They worked together, and I think it was originally called the Tradies Business Show. They did a bunch of episodes together and then they parted ways. He went on to host the show solo for a little while before I jumped in and joined him about 7 years ago now. We had some great times together. We've had a lot of laughs, shared countless stories, great mum jokes, and brought you all the insights to help you build and grow your trade business. Now it's time for me to take the reins and continue on with Woz's podcasting legacy. I want to take a moment to thank Woz for everything he brought to the show, his energy, his wisdom, his dedication that made this podcast what it is today. Woz, we'll miss you, especially here on the podcast, but your legacy will live on in every episode. From here on out, I'll be hosting solo, but please don't worry. I'll be bringing you the same jam-packed content with amazing guests that you've come to know and love. We'll have real tradie stories. We'll have amazing opportunities to speak with incredible business owners that can help you with solutions in your business. We will talk technology, software, AI, automation, profit, accounting, like just everything you require to run a great, successful trade business. So please do as you always do, sit back, grab a brew, and relax as we dive into today's episode.
Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast. Join your host, Nicole Cox, as she dives into the real stories, tips, secrets, and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside the trade world. Nick is here to help you break free from the grind, reduce money stress, and build a trade business that truly works for you. So grab a brew, put your phone on silent, and get ready to be inspired.
Hey listeners, welcome back to the Tradies in Business podcast. We've been talking a little bit in the community recently about marketing and how gosh darn confusing it is. And I know Meta's about to roll out a whole bunch of new changes that even I am struggling to get around. I'm fortunate enough to have a team that are a bit more savvy than I am, but I know you as trade business owners are thoroughly confused about what to do, where to, how to do it, who do you talk to, and what happens from here. So we've brought in an expert to answer all of your questions. Brandon Willington from Where You, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Brandon, tell us a little bit about you. Now, I'm really lucky to have been hit up by your marketing, so I'm pretty familiar with who you are. But I reckon, well, if you've done a really good job, lots of our listeners will know who you are as well. But it'd be great for them to understand who you are and how you came to be doing what you're doing, because it's not what you always did, right?
Yeah, like if someone's watching this on YouTube, I'll probably look a lot more familiar, but hopefully the voice is familiar because I've probably been swearing at you in and out on Instagram whenever you open up your phone.
Every time.
Calling SEO agency owners cowards and things like that. But so I actually used to work in nightlife because I used to be a DJ, and then being a DJ, I learned a lot, obviously, like marketing strategies. I became a nightclub promoter. And like I was telling you before the podcast, like you either die a DJ or you live long enough to become a corporate sellout. So I started an agency. And like most agencies, we had the done for you offer, obviously, where we do meta ads and Google ads and landing pages and things like that. And we'd run ads to book you a traffic discovery session call with us. But I'd do the math for a lot of the people that were applying to work with us. And, you know, when you're a small to medium sized business, maybe you've got one or two staff, couple of apprentices, something like that. You know, every dollar really counts. You got a BAS statement coming up. You got to fucking pay super and all that stuff now, pay YG, blah, 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 blah. And I was explaining to these people like, hey, the economics aren't really in your favor for you to get an agency, whether it's us or anyone else, to be honest, because typically when you get an agency or a freelancer, you fall into one of two buckets. Either bucket A is you get quoted like a $5,000 onboarding fee, a $3,000 a month retainer. You got to spend $3,000 a month on ads minimum. You're locked in for fucking 12 months for some reason. And, you know, after the onboarding fees and all that stuff, and like looking at the bottom line of your profit, you probably like got busier and broke even.
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't make any sense. And then you go, okay, well, that didn't work. I'll just get a cheaper agency or a cheaper freelancer. And then like my mum's like typical 80s love story. My mum's Filipino, my dad's Australian. And so it's like you just get like one of my cousins in Manila or Cebu or something like that to fucking do your Google ads. And you're like, why doesn't it get results? And it's just because like they just know how to use the interface, but they don't understand your business better than you will. No one will understand your business better than you will. And so you kind of just stuck between a rock and a hard place where it's either too expensive and it doesn't economically make sense, or it's too cheap, and that's why. Um, and then yeah, just like I was just explaining this to them, and then one week the person actually applied to work with us for the second time with a different business, and he was like really hoping to work with us. I was like, yeah, no, it still doesn't make sense. He's like, man, there's got to be some way to work with us, like, and I was like. He's like, what if we just like, can you just show us how to do it? And I was like, I don't want to do an online course, like, because I don't want to be one of these fucking course bros, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like, no, no, like we'll fly over to you from like New South Wales to Perth. And I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. And so they did. And then the next person I spoke to had the same conversation. It doesn't make sense. You shouldn't do this. And they're like, is there another way we can work together? I'm like, well, I'm doing this workshop with this guy like next month if you want to fly over for it. They're like, yeah, done. And then like everyone that day just bought it. And I was like, this is interesting. And so, yeah, that's where the With You program came about, because we just sit down next to you for 2 days and show you how to do it, then support you for 6 months after.
It's a fantastic concept, and I think the entire point of this is it's really confusing. And so we go out and we get some help because we don't know what to do. We're tradies. Our entire business is focused around attracting customers, but most of it's done through word of mouth until somebody like
Mhm.
me tells you got to do something different, because you can't rely on word of mouth and there's no turning it on or off. So then where do we go from there? Well, we reach out to every agency we can see in our sphere that have done a really good job of marketing themselves to us.
Yeah.
And we end up in this paradigm of 12 months of paying a lot of money out. There's not a lot of return. Worse still, we go down the SEO route and we get
Yeah,
this
how'd that
amazing.
fucking work out for you?
Exactly. Exactly. And it all goes to shit. And we're being taught shitty metrics about how to measure it all. And it's a minefield. And we get to the point where we don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, maybe we can shortcut a lot of pondering for the people listening on the call. What's the
Mhm.
basic marketing we need to do as a trade business owner?
It's not that fucking hard. All right, cool. So it was funny. Tim, one of our like sales reps, was talking to someone, and he does epoxy flooring. And
Mhm.
he was like, "Yeah," he said the same thing. Like, this is very difficult. I don't even know what fucking epoxy flooring is, but buffering the floor and stuff like that. And he's like, I think this is going to be really, really difficult. And Tim was like, all right, well, if I came to your workplace as an apprentice and you just laid out all the tools for epoxy flooring, I'm going to be like, what the fuck? Like, what do I do? I don't know what any of this does, and I don't know how to use it, right?
Yep.
Tim's like, do you reckon if I sat down with you, if you sat down with me for 2 days, showed me how to do it, and then like just whenever I had a question for 6 months afterwards, you just told me the answer, I'd be pretty fucking good at epoxy flooring pretty quickly, wouldn't I? Right? It's the same thing whenever you start your trade. You're an apprentice, and then you just get hazed and sent to Bunnings to buy some bullshit thing, right? It's kind of the same when you like get an agency. They talk about like clicks and impressions and all that stuff, right? You're basically just getting hazed by agencies at this point in time.
Absolutely.
But what I teach is like a 3 C's model. So you need clicks, that's the first one, from the right people. You need landing pages that actually convert that click into a qualified lead, and you need conversations that close them in the end. So that everything from the impression in your ad account all the way through to the transaction, your bank account is covered. And so it's just simply just making sure that your ad's getting clicked by the right person. So you're targeting the right keywords on Google. You're qualifying them in the click on meta if you're running meta ads, sending into a landing page that has like low resistance to actually become a qualified lead. You're not just collecting most. This is why people don't like SEO agencies. It feels like you're not getting leads; you're just getting contact details. But actually getting qualified leads that have intent in purchasing, and then actually just having a conversation with that lead that actually turns them into a customer. Because most of you have been selling to word of mouth and referral leads. And at
Mm,
that point in time, they're already problem aware. They're already solution aware. They probably already know the price. They got referred by someone that they trust. And you're essentially a checkout page and you fucking still can't close 100%. Right? Like,
mm,
how do you think you're going to go when someone just sees you on Instagram that morning and you're a sales call with them that afternoon? Right?
mm.
You can't have the same conversation with them, right? And so that's basically the model. You click from the right person, landing pages actually converts, so the right words in the right order, so that conversation actually turns them to a close in the bank account.
It sounds so easy when you say it.
Yeah, it's really funny. Like, we've had members that, like Adriano, so he's like an online fitness coach. He's like leaving me these voice memos on like Instagram. He's like, bro, I'm gonna like turn the ads off because we're booked out. I was like, you don't even seem like impressed. it's like it just I'm like, and I'll explain, I'm like, yeah, it's just a math formula, right?
Yeah.
Like we financially model out how your advertising campaigns should convert. Like if you get a click at this cost and your landing page converts at this, your contact rate is this, your close rate is, you can financially model out on a Google sheet and do forecasts based on like, all right, if I put spend in at this end, what revenue comes out at the end. But most people just go off of hope, and there's no math formula for referrals.
Mm. There's not a lot. There's It's also, as we were talking about earlier, it's not a tap you can turn on and off. There's no way for you to turn on the referrals when you are
Yep.
quiet, and there's no way to turn them off when you're super busy, but you can do all of that
That's
with ads, right?
yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm not. It's not to say that word of mouth referrals are bad. Like obviously you want word of mouth referrals. Free leads are great, right? But
Mhm.
it's either like feast or famine. And so what a lot of trade services do is obviously they had their word of mouth and referrals, but they've got that base of leads and sales that come from their paid advertising. So the fluctuations don't go from $50,000 a month to 10.
Mm. Let's talk ROI while we're kind
Mm,
of there in the subject. So, first of all, unpack the what it is, because many of our listeners really don't understand the concept. And then a
mhm,
question I get asked all the time is, how much should I spend?
mhm.
And it's like, how long's the piece of string? It's a different answer for every business,
Yeah,
right? You want to
100%.
talk to that a bit, Brandon?
Yeah, sure. So what was the first question again? The first question was
What is ROI?
sure. So there's a number of different ways you can calculate ROI. The easiest way, I just boy math it and go, what was revenue that came from your ads, multiply and divide that by ad spend. So if you made $10,000 attributed to your ads and you spent $1,000 on ads, 10,000 divided by 1,000 is a 10x ROI. You can go a step further and start calculating in gross profit as well, obviously.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, truly, truly all that matters is the bottom line of the P&L statement. But no marketers are talking about your profit and loss statement. The other thing as well is your profit and loss statement better than everyone else. And so you can factor in your cost of goods, wages and salaries, superannuation. You can factor in all of this stuff. And so you can actually see the impacts of your advertising on the bottom line. Because let's say, for example, you sell a bunch of things worth $100, but your profit on is only 10.
Mhm.
I was like, what's the fucking point? Right.
Mhm.
Whereas, if you have a high gross profits product and you just focus all of your advertising profit, all your advertising efforts on that,
Mhm.
then the downstream effects of that is higher net profit. Right.
Mhm.
Second part to your question was how much should I spend on ads? And you're absolutely right in saying that is a little bit like a how long is a piece of string. Typically, what I tell beginner advertisers to do when they're first starting in advertising is starting with just $30 to $50 a day. My reason for that is it's slow enough that if it doesn't work and you can't keep up with it for 5 days, you haven't burnt a couple $1,000s. But
Mhm.
it's fast enough you can start seeing leads the same day you turn the tap on.
Yep.
Right. Obviously, the faster the more money you spend on ads, the faster you're going to learn. For example, if someone's spending $50 a day and someone else is spending $500 a day, the person spending $500 a day is going to learn in one day what the other person is going to have to wait 10 days to find out.
Yes.
Yep.
It look, because I play in this field, it seems quite simple to me, but it did take me a long time to get to the point where I could understand some of the lessons that you can so eloquently share in moments. But for a trade business owner, it can be super confusing, right? Because
Hmm.
if I'm talking to old mate down the pub and he's getting fantastic results and he's only spending $100 a week,
Hmm.
and the people I'm working with want me to spend more, I don't really understand how that's going to give me the result. So I think when it
Hmm.
comes back to that maths formula,
Yeah.
understanding your individual business, that's where you can make the biggest impact. So for me in my space, it's about, well, what am I comfortable to spend to obtain a client?
Yep.
And
That's
it
the other
doesn't
thing as well.
stop with the ad spend though, because then I've got to think about, well, what else have I had to do to get that client in front of me so they become part of my team?
Yep. And you got to understand cash flow as well. Obviously that no one understands the business's cash position better than the business owner because you're checking it first thing in the morning, right? But if you've got an agency saying, hey, we need to do a $5,000 test this week,
Yeah.
which by the way is so fucking bullshit. You never need to
Yes.
do
No.
that. It's like, but or like the other fucking lies. Oh, we need like 60 days to like get data. I'm like, you're a fucking coward. It takes it does not take that long.
No.
But yeah, you understand your business's cash position better, and so you can have a tap that you can turn on and off. Obviously increase spend on certain platforms. For example, let's say for example you're a pressure cleaning company, right? Like you do exterior porch cleaning.
Mhm.
You have the opportunity to do Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, and Google, and you'll spend slightly more on another platform when people are thinking about it. So I think it's pressure cleaning demand is up during summer. So you'll spend a little bit more on Google because people are actively looking for the product, and a little bit less on Meta because obviously you just want to dump some more money into Google. And then in winter, when people aren't thinking about it as much, you take the budget from Google, spend a little bit more on Meta so you can start creating demand. People that weren't thinking about it before, now they're thinking about it because you're popping up on Instagram and Facebook and things like that. Spending a little bit less on Google, this is just simply less people searching for you on Google at that time.
Very clever. All right, Brandon, why Meta and why Google? Why not any of the other platforms that are out there?
It really depends. Like Meta and Google, the reason I like them is because they're very beginner friendly, and you can afford to not do it absolutely perfectly, and it
Mhm.
will still do well. For example, I think I can't remember the exact number. I was quoted also. I'm pretty sure it's 52,000. All right, I'll ask you a question. Can you think of 52,000 unique facts about yourself?
No.
Facebook can. Because it has 52,000 unique pieces of data on you. It is an incredibly, essentially alien piece of technology when it comes to predicting human behavior on the internet. So we have a strategy that I've cleverly coined the LER strategy. It
Mhm.
means let her rip.
Mhm.
And it's basically no interest targeting, no demographics, nothing like that. It's just make a good ad that conveys the value of the product, drop a pin on the postcodes that you can service so
Mhm.
the age range is right, and then just let her rip. And Facebook will just read what's in the ad, read what's in the video, read what's on the landing page, and then be incredibly good at getting in front of the right people.
Mhm.
Same with Google. Like, the reason why Google can okay, so when you make a Google ad, you select different headlines.
Mhm.
Well, you can enter different headlines, and then Google will select the best, like whatever headline it thinks will perform best for whoever's typing in the Google search at the time. Do you want to know how it knows what headline to pick?
Please.
Do you use Gmail?
Yeah,
Fucking reads those emails and goes, "What headline is this person most likely to click?"
that's amazing.
And so simply because Meta and Google have the most data on all of us,
Yes.
there's so many guardrails in place that you could do it poorly and still do well. Like, I'm considered a bit of a chadvertiser when it comes to like all these paid media dorks that are like, you need to do this interest vector and like this thing and this thing. And I'm just like coming in with just like a good ad with a good value prop, doing the basics well, and then just let it rip.
Yeah. I love the concept. And test and measure is a concept that gets thrown at me all of the time. Probably one I throw back at many of my clients as well. And I think it's as simple as that. Until you throw it out there, you see how it's going to perform. You really can't make any decisions.
Yeah, 100%. It's always, you can always make a solid hypothesis.
Yes.
Like I can, and that hype, your predictions will get more accurate over time.
Hmm.
For example, like me building a campaign for myself, because I've spent like obviously a clients' money as well, but like personally spent like I just checked my ad account the other day, $500,000 in ads. I can make a pretty good estimate on what's going to happen when I like run a new ad. And so
Yeah.
I can do a test with $500 a day and go, okay, yeah, that worked after 24 hours, and then just ramp that up. But at the start, when you have you have a very small sample size of data. So everything, all the predictions you make are just simply a hypothesis, perhaps a
Yep.
good hypothesis. But until, again, you're only a sample size of one.
Yes.
And so you want a larger sample size of data, which is just simply, if I put this ad on the internet, it gets seen by tens of thousands of people, what percentage of them click it, right? Now we have a statistically significant sample size of data. Like, I just like making predictions based off of numbers, not feelings,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Part
Hmm.
of it might be the weaponized autism, but I just like figuring out a math formula and then just testing it and refining the formula.
I think this really leans into the fact that as business owners, we think we know what our people want to hear or see. We make assumptions because
Hmm.
we lean into the feeling. We're not looking at the facts,
Hmm.
but we lead with the feeling. Eventually, the data's got to become important when we make decisions off that. But
Hmm.
we're making decisions on data that's come from feeling. So it just turns
Yep.
into this messy quagmire that isn't going to work.
Yeah, it's really interesting because no one will understand your customer better than you, because your agency isn't picking up the phone and talking to your customer. Your agency isn't doing the service. They don't hear what they say on the phone. They don't hear what they say when you talk to them on site. And so you have a larger sample size of data of just simply things your customer has said. And
Mm.
so I'll give you a perfect example actually. So I did a webinar recently. I think it was like 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. I was doing the webinar. I was on Zoom, and there was like 400 or 500 people on there. And I said, yeah, who here's worked with an SEO agency in the past? And then chat went off like, yeah, me. And I said, yeah, how did that work out for you just in passing? And the whole chat just got like furiously agreeing with me. And I, as a clever internet marketer, went, huh, that's interesting. I'm going to remember that for the next webinar.
Yep.
And so the next ads that I did for the webinar the next month, I opened an ad and a lot of people have seen it. And the first line is, every single SEO agency owner I've ever met is a coward. That was the first line. And it got leads for this webinar for 30 to 35% cheaper than every other ad that I ran.
Wow.
Because the feeling was, my clients don't like SEO agencies. And the number was 33, that they agree with me so much that
Yep.
they'll opt in for this webinar for like 30% cheaper than all the other ads.
Yep. You're just listening to the data. I love it. Brandon, I find even myself, so clearly we market here at Tradies in Business. We spend a lot with Meta, or we have historically. And I find that the goalposts move from time to time. And I know there's a significant change coming to the Meta marketing. I believe it's in June or July, but I may have it really wrong. How do you stay ahead of all of that? And does it actually even matter the way that they're changing the algorithm?
To a degree, yes and no. I mean, I laugh when you say like they're rolling out a new update in 6. They roll out a new update
Every day.
It's so funny when we do the 2-day workshop. So we like build the campaigns with them, right? And there'll be like 50 people in a room. We had to start by saying, hey, just a heads up, half of you are going to have one interface, the other half are going to have another interface.
So true.
Because they constantly, what they do is they split test interfaces against each other to find which one they find new big advertisers find it easier to get new ads up and running so they can spend more. So it's essentially a split test. That's what they're doing. But all these algorithm changes, they usually roll out updates, and they never make, I mean, touch wood, it happens a couple times. It's very rare that they'll roll out hugely monumental and like detrimental campaign updates. For example, anyone in the financial or healthcare services, you guys just got nuked pretty fucking hard. Have fun tracking standard events, right? And so typically, they've got like update websites and things like that where they'll roll out new updates. But at the end of the day, I don't lose sleep over an interface change. The true core principles of an ad being shown to the right person and being clicked by that person, being sent to a landing page that has low physical and the right balance of psychological resistance, and then just having a conversation with that person, those fundamentals are never going to change. How advertising has always been, it's how it'll always be. The interface changes and how we do that is simply going to change. The strategies will always be eternal, but the tactics and what button you click, that might change next week, or what they call it.
Something different.
Yeah, they call it like advantage plus something. Oh, my favorite one was they like stripped away interest targeting.
Yes.
And they stripped away interest targeting, but to get it back, you had to click this little low contrast grayed out button that says further limit the reach of your ads. So that's where it is now. But it looks very like you read that as a beginner advertiser. If I say further limit the reach of your ads, what do you think? Good or bad?
Yeah, it's bad, right?
Yeah, bad, right? No.
It's actually a good thing.
It's actually a good thing. It's just all these guardrails for people that are just like absolute beginner advertisers. That's what it is. Or like
at the end of the day, they just want it to work for you because you're going to spend more money, right?
They just want your ads to go live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have to account for, the people fucking 2 standard deviations below median intelligence just so they can get their ads live, right?
Yeah, that's it. So it's always going to be, at the beginning, it's going to be easy, but it's the other stuff that needs to happen. It's not just about what we do with Meta. As you've referenced, it's things like landing pages and making sure they convert.
Correct.
This is a really foreign concept for tradies. Can you talk us through the purpose of a landing page in this specific instance?
Yeah, cool. So I was, it's funny because I was getting in an argument with some of the comments of my ads just on the weekend, just because I'm bored. So I just start fights on the internet. And he was explaining how like you only get he had like an analytics tool, and he's like, you only get 400 visits to your website a month. Like, you must not be going well. And I go, look at the analytics for my landing pages, because if you can still do it today. If you go to www.we.com.au and you go to the contact page, there is a video from me from 2020. You know it's 2020 because I have bleached blonde hair and I'm about 20 kilos fatter. I haven't updated this video in 5 years because I know it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
And in that video, I say, what are you doing here? We don't send any paid traffic here. It all goes to our funnels and landing pages. So you must be one of three people. You've either gone through a funnel and you're just checking us out,
Mhm.
you're a referral from a happy customer and you're checking us out, or you're my competitor just trying to see what's up. Those are the only three people that come here. If you go to the landing pages are engineered specifically with one purpose, and that one purpose is generate a qualified lead. If you go to the website, the analogy that I use is a website is a little bit like a directory for like the entire alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You got home, about, services, contact, testimony, all this stuff, right? There's all these different things you could do. A landing page is just taking one of those letters and we're just focusing on that letter. So you
Mm.
clicked an ad for the letter A, landing page you go to is all about the letter A. In real world, what that shows up is if you click an ad for roller shutter repairs, you go to a roller shutter repairs landing page. You go to roller shutter installations, you go to a roller shutter installations landing page, and everything is focused on that. Because, like I said, it's a math formula, right? We're trying to count cards at the casino, except we're actually allowed to do it. The pit boss is on our side. We're trying to maximize the conversion rate of that one place that they go when they click that landing page. And so a landing page is simply a dedicated page. There's no like menu at the top. It just serves one purpose, and it's become a lead for this one service. And the website is you can browse around, peruse. You can still opt in and become a lead, but it's far more broad in its messaging.
Really important differences there for our listeners to know. Many of them, I still work with people that don't have websites
Yeah.
because
I was sorry to cut you off. Yeah, you don't fucking need one either.
no, you don't.
Like,
I do agree.
it's like,
I don't disagree with you at all. With a great landing page, you can do all the heavy lifting. And I think this is the problem. We're sold these broad ideas of what we require, but they don't actually turn people into
yep,
customers. They're not a conversion tool. They're a research tool, if
yep.
anything at all, right?
Correct. You're 100% right. I used to have a DJ school, and we had 5 locations in 3 cities. I never had a website. Never
Yeah.
had one. I just had a landing page because I knew the only thing that was making money was my landing page. A website was just a $10,000 business card.
Yep.
So what was the point?
And an opportunity to sucker punch yet again. Okay, let's talk about a common fear. I don't want to put my face on marketing. Do I have to go live with a Facebook ad that has my head?
No, don't need to.
Easy as that.
Yeah.
Let's dispel all the other myths,
it,
Brandon.
it helps for sure.
Yeah,
Like whenever we get the business owner in the ads or in the landing pages, it certainly helps build trust. It's
100%.
not absolutely critical at all, though. Like we've had plenty of clients do, but actually, if anyone's in pressure cleaning, just do we call it pressure cleaning porn, which is just the really oddly sad. You know, when you put that it's like it's clean afterwards.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like the
yeah.
viewer attention is just really, really high because it's just like oddly satisfying.
It's
So yeah,
amazing what they connect with. I think you've just brought up something you said earlier too. Trust, know, like, and trust, of course, is very important when it comes to marketing. How do you shortcut that if you're not putting the owner of the business
no
on the
Google
ad?
reviews. So I always put Google reviews underneath the call to action on the landing page
Yeah.
because when they go to the landing page, go, cool, you want me to do this? Am I a guinea pig? Like, am I the first person to do this? And then they scroll down to go, oh, no, 278 Google reviews and they're mostly positive. Great.
Which I think is super, super important. You really do make it sound super simple. And Brett, I'm going to share with you, my son has been hitting me over the head with everything you've said for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. I'm going to send this to him when we publish it, and he's going to come back and laugh at me because finally I'll be
The
agreeing
big
with
told you
everything you
so.
said. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, Brandon, what else does a tradie need to know to step into the ring and give it a crack?
Please have a solid CRM system. A lot of home services will use something like ServiceMate or Pipedrive. They're perfectly fine. And
Great.
if you get a marketing automation landing page builder tool like High Level, you can
Mhm.
use a tool like Zapier and just simply integrate the leads across to ServiceMate or Pipedrive. But please also just have a CRM system because otherwise, without having a customer relationship management system where you can manage your jobs, your inbound leads, who's coming up to their 6 months where they might need a cleanup or something like that with their gutters, you've simply just got a leaky bucket. You've paid good money to generate and probably put some time in as well into generating these leads. And so simply forgetting about one is an unacceptable excuse for
Yeah,
not
totally.
growing the business.
Yeah. Okay, and then what role does AI have coming into the marketing space?
I find AI as more of a supportive tool than a dependent tool. So when we do the workshops, and it's funny because I start the workshops by not mentioning ChatGPT at the start, and then a couple of people will read their ads to me, and without knowing, all right, you used ChatGPT for that one, didn't you? And I go, yeah. Okay, yeah, because it's very fucking generic, right?
Yep.
And so what we had to do first is we had to teach people the principles of what makes a good ad,
Mm-hmm.
so that when ChatGPT spits out a bad one, you can spot it. And I'll be fair, like I use ChatGPT for my ads, but it's more for ideation and getting inspiration. Going, oh, that's cool, but I wouldn't say that. And I understand my customer better, so I'm going to change this statement here just to like speed up some time, but also add the, that I understand my customer better than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Another useful tool with AI, so besides copywriting and advertising, there are a lot of AI agents out there for like call support. Like High Level recently rolled out AI agents so you can receive phone calls all the time. It's like, how many times your fucking phone call go off? Your phone go off as a tradesperson, right? Can you get to it every single time? No.
Never.
Are you missing out on deals because of it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's another thing is besides just the ad creation process, the actual sales process and converting more of those leads without taking up too much time in your calendar, that's a massive opportunity I can see right now as well. Often forgotten about as well.
Yeah, I agree. Brandon, before off air, you and I were talking about the sales part of what you do. Let's talk about that because it doesn't stop at the marketing and getting the lead in. What happens after that? Like, how do you teach?
Yeah.
What do you teach after that?
Yeah. So the main thing is that the main problem and the hurdle that we had to overcome is you've been selling to word of mouth and referral leads. And so they're already problem aware, they're already solution aware, they've already made up their mind, they've been referred by a friend or a family member, they probably already know the price and you still close probably like 80%, right?
Yep.
And so what we need to do is these 5 things in the marketing process, because usually what happens is this happens all the fucking time. You get an agency, right? And they go, look at all these leads we got you. And then the sales team is like, I can't close any of these people. And so the marketing team says the sales team suck. The sales team says the leads suck. That's why in my business, we don't have a marketing department and a sales department. We have a growth department because the end KPI is profit, right? Well, actually, really, it's revenue, but profit's up for the CEO, right? Managing your expenses.
Yep.
But otherwise, like this person's incentive is make the cost per lead far too low.
Mhm.
And this person's incentive is to try and make theirs go higher. And so it's like a push and pull, like no one's going in the same direction, right? And so what you need to do is have your marketing actually support your sales process. So all the frequently asked questions you get, all the objections you get, you need to be embedding them into your marketing process to prevent them getting to the sales team at all. Secondly, the sales team needs to be having conversations that account for, probably not problem aware, probably not solution aware, probably haven't been referred by someone else. And so they need to be changing their sales conversations to account for the fact that this person hasn't completely made up their mind yet on their own. I need to say the right things to make this person's mental scape look more like this person's.
Yep.
And so it's a different line of questioning and how we present the offers.
Love it. Love it. All right, Brandon, I have found this affirming. Thank you for affirming everything I believe so far. This is really helpful for me. I have a few clients I'm going to throw this at and just point at them when I'm throwing it at them. So thank you very much for that. If any of our listeners are sitting here and thinking, you know what, I really need some help from this guy, where do they find you?
You can go to www.we.com.au, but instead you go to a landing page and go to ahoy.we.com.au. There's a video on that page that explains how the With You program works. You can see all the testimonials. When you opt in, say that you're from home services and trades, we'll send you all the wins and testimonials from people in your specific industry as well. So when you opt in, we're not going to send you a bunch of online fitness coaching clients. We're going to send you, hey, this guy's a plumber. Hey, this person's an electrician. Hey, this person's an epoxy flooring. If you have a chat with the team, we find out it's not a good fit for you. We'll be pretty blunt and honest with you. Otherwise, if you want to get started, but yeah, just go there.
Brilliant. And I tell you what, if you hang around on Instagram long enough, you're going to find him. He just kind of pops
trust
up
me,
there.
resistance is futile. Like I always say this podcast, like, oh, where can we find him? I just fucking open your phone after this and scroll.
So true.
You'll see me.
Now that because obviously he's going to go live on our socials as well. So if you're at all connected with us, you're going to get here with Brandon. And that's not a bad thing. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, Brandon.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Tradies in Business podcast with Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.